Oh, just listen to that exhaust. Oh. The cool thing about the Granturismo, and you can look at it both ways, it's a good thing and a bad thing, is that they really haven't changed the styling of the car since 2007. So all of them pretty much look the same. There have been very minor stylistic changes through the years, but in general the car is the same. It's riding on the modified Quattroporta chassis, so it's a pretty large car. The nice thing about the fact that they haven't changed the styling is that if you're driving a 2019 or a 2007, they all look the same. You can't really tell the difference. The bad thing is that if you just bought a 2019 and you paid 6 figures for the car, you really can't differentiate yourself from the guy who paid, you know, quarter of the price and driving a 2007. So it's a plus and it's a minus. I personally think that the styling of this car is absolutely timeless. You know, it's designed by Pininfarina, the Italy's design house, and these guys, they really know how to make the car look pretty. If you think about it, if you look at this car today in 2020, it does not look like a car that was designed in 2007. There are a lot of cars from that era that you look at and they look dated and they look old, and you can tell that they're from that era. This car has aged so gracefully, it aged so well that, again, there was no need for them to change the styling, because it was so well designed back in the day that the car still looks relevant and modern by today's standards. Well, fellas, what makes this particular Maserati so special? Well, number one, it has only 11,000 miles on odometer. And number two, this is the Granturismo S MC Sportline. Now, what is an MC Sportline? MC stands for Maserati Corse. In 2008, Maserati introduced the Maserati Granturismo MC, which was the race car. And in 2009, they introduced MC Sportline, which was Maserati's customization program, where you can get the Granturismo with certain stylistic and performance enhancements of the MC race car. Now, this particular car has the carbon fiber package and it's an MC Sportline. So all the trim on the inside is carbon fiber. It's real carbon fiber, not the fake one. So the steering wheel is carbon fiber, the paddles are carbon fiber, all the trim, the shifter, the center console, the door panels, the exterior mirror covers, the door handles, the side skirts, the diffuser, everything is carbon fiber. Stylistic changes are not the only thing that the MC Sportline package offers. It also includes some of the performance modifications. This car is actually lowered almost half an inch, 0.4 inches. It has stiffer springs, stiffer shocks, you know, bigger sway bars, 20-inch Neptune black wheels, and I think that total package together looks very, very aggressive. Just listen to that exhaust. It is from the gods. Absolutely heavenly note. Sounds like an Italian symphony. This car has two modes. There's a sport mode and then there's a regular mode. And once you activate the sport mode, the exhaust valves open up and it's an opera. It is absolutely one of the best sounding exhausts that I have ever heard. I don't need a radio in this car. I can listen to this exhaust all day long. It is absolutely fantastic. This car has Ferrari derived F136 90-degree V8 engine. It is co-developed in a Maserati Ferrari, produced by Ferrari, 4.7 liters. It produces 434 horsepower and about 361 pound-feet of torque. The engine note is, again, this is an Italian car, and if there's one thing they know how to do is, you know, make cars look and sing like Pavarotti. It's the sounds that this car makes are absolutely from different world. very quick. And this being the MC Sportline, like I mentioned before, it has modifications to the suspension. So it's lowered by about half an inch. It has stiffer springs, stiffer shocks, and bigger sway bars. However, you have to keep in mind that this is a pretty large car. It's based on the Quattroporte chassis, so you can feel that weight in the corners. It's there. Again, it handles fantastically, but you have to be mindful that you know, you can push this car to its limit and you might lose grip. When I think of the Granturismo, I can't help but think of the Ford Thunderbirds when they first came out. And I'm not comparing the Granturismo to the Thunderbird, but when the Thunderbirds first came out in the 50s, their slogan was, "It's the gentleman's hot rod." And I think that's a proper term to apply to the Granturismo. This truly is a gentleman's hot rod. This is not one of those crazy supercars like the Aventador or Huracan or one of those, you know, super Ferraris or whatnot. It's a car that you can drive every day, but at the same time, it offers you that supercar feel and that supercar performance. And there's really nothing on the market today that can do that. And if you think about it, this is when this car was new. It's $135,000+, and with the MC Sportline package, I can only imagine how much all this stuff cost. And today you can get this car for a quarter of that, and it's an absolutely amazing value. I really like this interior. The clock, the Maserati clock, is absolutely beautiful. It's the centerpiece of this dash, and you really feel like you're inside of an expensive car. Everything is put together very, very well. We'll get to the sticky button issue in a second, but I love this carbon fiber. Everything is leather. The door panels are leather. The dash is leather, and it really feels like a quality interior. And if you watch my previous video, I did resolve the sticky button issue, and I took apart a lot of the trim pieces, and I saw how they were put together, and this car was really put together properly. Everything is, you know, attached with screws and bolts. There are very few clips, and there's really no rattles or noises inside this car. And it's, you know, it's an almost 10-year-old car. It's amazing for an Italian car. So here are some of the things that I don't like about this car, and one of the issues I already fixed. The problem with Italian cars of this era, and not only Italian cars, you know, the issue also applies to some German cars and some American cars, is that they have something called the sticky button syndrome, or the sticky surfaces. Maserati, Lamborghini, Ferrari, what they did is they painted some of the plastics in the interior with some kind of vinyl dye that with age starts to deteriorate and turn sticky. Basically, the entire interior turns disgusting, and this stuff is applied everywhere. So what I actually did, and I'll link that video below, I took apart a lot of the trim pieces here. I fixed everything. I stripped all that old paint. I have repainted everything with the proper vinyl paint, so it looks absolutely beautiful. There are no more sticky buttons in this car. Everything has been cleaned out, so it's probably one of the very few Maseratis out there that doesn't have that issue. So that's number one problem, and a lot of people are deterred from buying these cars because of that. It's very labor intensive if you want to do it correctly, but again, this car has been done. Now here's another issue I have with this interior, is the pedal placement. I don't know what it is about these pedals, but they're way too close to each other, and if you have big feet like I do, sometimes your foot gets like tangled up between the pedals. It's weird. I've been driving it for a couple days. I'm starting to get used to it. I already know where the pedals are, but in the beginning it's a very, very odd feeling. Here's the other thing that I find to be odd about this car. They did all these modifications to the suspension, tuning, it's stiffer springs, shocks, blah, blah, blah. You press the sport button and the exhaust opens up, but they did nothing to change the feel of the steering, which is very, very strange. The steering in this car feels way over-assisted. It's great when you're parking the car, but when you're taking tight corners like this one, it's not very confidence inspiring, because you would expect something a little bit stiffer, but it's just not there. The steering is very soft. It feels like a steering in a Lincoln Town car, and it's mind-boggling what they did that. Why didn't they change the feel of the steering? I don't know, but that's you know, one of the things that if I was nitpicking the car, it's the pedals, the steering, and of course the sticky buttons that I took care of. But other than that, I mean, it's a very, very comfortable car to drive. And again, the sound is absolutely orgasmic. I just love the way it sounds. I can listen to this all day long. and just everything else in this car feels just right. I mean, I think they nailed it. They designed the car, and they designed it the right way from the beginning, and that's why they never changed it. They really need. There was no need. One more thing about this car, and I know some people will complain about this, but the infotainment system is a little bit dated by today's standards. I kind of like the 1980s Netscape Navigator graphics. I think they look nostalgic, and I think now that these cars with all these infotainment systems that gonna start aging, maybe 30 years from now, people are gonna be looking for, I'm looking for a 2011 whatever, because the graphics were nostalgic, and it kind of looks cool. It is a relatively quick system. It's responsive. It has all the bells and whistles, and I'm a fan of buttons, physical buttons, and there's a lot of buttons in here. So there's like a dial pad for your phone. There are physical controls for pretty much everything. It's not a touch screen, so there are physical controls. I personally like it. I have no problem with it, but I know some people are all techie and stuff. They really need to get into all this technology. To me personally, any car that I get into, this just goes off, and that's it. I don't use any of that garbage. I don't care about this, because when I'm driving, and I care about how the car drives and not what noises it makes. And it makes a lot of noises. It has all these parking sensors. I don't know if you can hear. Sometimes when I stop, at lower speed, it keeps warning you about all the stuff that's around you that's really not around you. But it does it anyway. I think you can turn it off, but every time you restart the car, it comes back on. So. So good. Well, fellas, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please subscribe, like, share, so you can become friends of ours. Thank you for watching. Bye.